Alright guys, so this is day 2. I'm on a different hike. This is Mount Morgan's Loop, or Mount Morgan's Pass in New Hampshire. It's about 10 in the morning and it is beautiful out here. It's about 65. I don't know if there's any summits on this trail. I was reading a little bit about it. It's supposed to be some type of cave. If I could find the cave, we'll go in it. That's pretty cool. But a couple outlooks. As you can see, it's just a lot of roots here. This is considered a moderate type of hike. So it's not too many steep angles. So it should be pretty decent. Nice and easy day. Should say that I did get a couple hot spots from yesterday's hike, so a little rough, but you know what, that's what happens when you don't hike in a long time. Your feet gotta get used to it all over again. Alright guys, so I'm about a quarter way in, far enough away from civilization. The path is pretty easy. Some inclines here and there, but nothing you couldn't do. Really quiet. About one of the quietest forests I've been in so far. There's plenty of birch bark. So if I ever get stuck, I know I can make fire here. Although, it wouldn't be necessary, you just follow the path out. You can see how wide the path is. That's from years and years of use. I did put a massive amount of bug spray on today, so that worked. I got paraffin for my clothes, and then I used DEET, and so far all the bugs have been, they zoom in every now and then, but they definitely leave. They don't like DEET. Alright guys, so there definitely is water here, so you can see. Not at a loss for water. I don't know if New Hampshire water is safe to drink. I'm not going to take a chance right now because I have a whole camelback full of clean drinking water, but if I had to filter it, I could. I have a survival straw, so it's not a big deal. But it's good to know there's water on this mountain. So I'm walking down the path and I find this huge down tree. I don't know what that is. It could be oak, whatever this pattern is. It's probably a big, oh, it's pine. Possibly a huge pine tree. I don't know, but this one didn't make it out through the storm. This looks like the Game of Thrones chair. Just look how huge this thing is. Perfect spot. I thought that was pretty cool. Got the roots up and everything. So I thought this was cool. As you can see, this is a marshy area. And I forget what they call them. They call them like, I don't know, Forest Service or trail gods or whatever they call them. But these are people that come out and they fix the trails, so when the on season is here, people will have something to walk on. So I just thought that was pretty cool. There's a bunch, it's mostly volunteers, people that can use tools and heavy machinery, and most of the time it's a bunch of retired guys or a bunch of college kids that volunteer for the trails because they enjoy it. And I highly recommend, if you are someone that appreciates hiking, and I know there's one in New York, New Jersey, Trail Conference they call it. And what they do is they go out, they hike the trails, they see what needs fixing, and they fix it. Whether it's stone steps or removing felled trees. So I thought that was always neat. And I always wanted to do it. But the schedule that I have is ridiculous. And there isn't many large mountains where I live, so I would still have to travel 2 hours out of way just to volunteer. So maybe when I'm retired, move up to the mountains, I'll fix my own trails. I don't know. So. Also, another thing about if you are hiking and you are in a swampy area, the thing is that the mosquitoes and flies and the things that bite you like to live in those areas. So it's best to just bug spray and move on. Don't hang out there too long, or else they'll just call you lunch. For all you guys that think that you don't have to be in shape to climb a mountain, those are the stairways to heaven, and that is to the summit. Alright, so I finally found the cave. It's right there, I don't know if you can see it. Alright guys, I finally got through the cave over the rocks. Just ran into a pair of hikers. Pretty cool hike. A little sketchy on these rocks though, but holy crap. It's pretty awesome. This is exactly why we do it. Alright guys, alright, so I found the summit. I'll show you a picture of the geological medallion. I thought I was on the summit when I first brought you up there. That was just a cliff. The summit was about 10 feet away. It was just in the opposite direction. And the problem is that a lot of times they do the geological survey and they put the medallion on there, but it's surrounded by trees. So I guess they just don't want to cut the trees, and that's what they do. So I had to go find the marker. It's kind of a little hobby of mine to take pictures of every single marker that I come by when I'm on a trail. I don't know, maybe when I'm dead and buried, my son will appreciate it. But we're coming to another road here. So I'm trying to do a loop. So there's definitely a loop involved here. And I'm still using my my All Trails app. It's really excellent. Gives you a lot of information and keep you on track. So I'm just gonna head back down. If I find anything more interesting, I'll definitely keep you in the loop. All right, so basically what I'm doing is I'm traversing from mountaintop to mountaintop. You sort of like a saddle. Go up one side, come down the other. Go up another one, come down another. And the trail so far is okay. Just some areas are steeper than others. And there's a lot of winding roundabouts because this is nature. I just came up on a trail marker where the trees have been sort of thrown down, something like this. Yeah, you got to kind of decide what the Forestry Service does. That is a bird. Forestry Service does with the trail markers. What they do is, if there's a trail they don't want you to use, they usually cut a bunch of logs and they place them right in the center, so you know it just didn't fall down through like windstorms and stuff like that. So you got to pay attention to stuff like that. So like this obviously was a storm, But if you saw a bunch of logs in the middle of the path, it's a sure sign that it was man-made. It was put there by man or woman, whatever, and they don't want you to go that way. And then what they'll do is they'll remark the trail. So while you're looking at the logs, you got to look up and look for the new trail that's marked. Usually it has some type of fresh paint on it, so you can see that that paint is fairly fresh. And sometimes they reroute you due to either the trail washed away, there's danger in that area, whatever. It could be a million reasons why they reroute the trail. Maybe this one's easier. So, and the triangles are probably the best because they're usually made of plastic. They're usually made of plastic so they won't rot. And when the tree grows, it doesn't cover up the markings, which is why they use plastic. It makes sense. So I just went to the summit. The cave was not really a cave. I should say that the cave, and I'll show you some pictures of it, but it was a ladder up a rock face. And what happened is the only way to get up onto the summit is to crawl through boulders, and some of it is caved in. There were other hikers there, so I didn't, and quite honestly, I barely fit through the hole. I'm 6'4", 230 pounds. So, I mean, they were, you know, young, spry, young girls, and they had no problem. But for me, I'm a big dude. It was a little tight. I had to take off my pack to get through it. So, you know, those kind of things are sketchy and a little scary because basically what happens is, you know, if one of those rocks decides it's your time, you're going to get crushed to death. So it's a little sketchy, but I got through it. And then up over the side is where you saw all that awesome scenery. So let's continue. This is Mount Percival. It's the adjoining mountain to the one I was just on. I was on this one over here. Alright, heading back down the mountain. I'm on Mount Percival. And you can see that these are sheer cliffs. And I'm about a couple feet away from it, so I'm going to try to stick to the rock face as much as possible without falling to my death. But that's kind of the deal. You know, you want to climb in the mountains, you better be okay with heights. That's for damn sure. I'm just glad I didn't have to figure this out for myself. Somebody from the Forest Service did it for me. So I gotta go back down there now to see the white markers. So I'm gonna put the phone away before I film my own death. Alright guys, I just wanna finish up. So I went to two peaks. One was through some crazy tunnel to the summit, and then I went over to the next mountain, Percy, whatever the mountain is. I'll put it down below if you guys are interested. I'll put the links down below of the loop that I did. Also, All Trails has been extremely useful to me. There's a couple times where the service went out, but ultimately you could also print out the maps if you want to. So a little tired. It's the second day on the trail. It's probably going to be like 3.5, almost 4 hours of hiking to go through the two tops and to do this loop. But good exercise, a lot of forest. If you're here or anywhere, make sure that you use bug spray because god damn it, I've been getting eaten alive. I think I'm going to come up on a bridge over here, which is pretty cool. I'll bring you over here. Man-made bridge. That's pretty neat. And that's it, guys. Happy trails. Make sure you stay safe. All right, guys. Talk to you soon.